There's dirt bikes. So there's no videos on YouTube yet on a 2020 Polaris Sportsman's 850 fuel pump. I'm actually at work right now working on the boss's squad, but it'll be a good opportunity to show you. Fortunately, we didn't get the idea until we already got tore apart. But long story short, take this guy off, take that guy off. You will have to remove the side panels. Now what makes this quad difficult is a lot of the other Polarises have a filler neck right here, so the fuel pump's right here. On this 2020, that wasn't the case. We had to cap this off, and we have to pull the air box off. You actually can pull it off to the side. We may end up just fully removing it. But that's the key component of what made this more difficult, is we got to pull this out, and our fuel pump's right underneath the frame. So next, we're going to move this out of the way, and we're going to try to drop the tank. Okay, so now that we got this out of the way of the air box, there's two bolts. One right here underneath the steering, and one over here to the left. Once you, let me backtrack a minute. You gotta pull this guy off the air box, move that out of the way. Pull these two bolts out. Then, you can slide this guy right off to the side. As you can see, we got plenty of room now to take that off. Okay, so now this isn't the proper tool, but it's low enough profile to where it can help us get in there and knock this guy loose. There we go. I like to use a rag because it is plastic. There we go. Oh, it's gonna be a little tight. All right, so now we got the lock ring off. Now we're gonna pull the old bad fuel pump out. There she is. Don't forget the gasket. Okay, so we got our all balls fuel pump in, or out of the box. Looks like it comes with a new cap, and the gasket is in the cap. Make sure when you take these out, this guy does move, because sometimes these can jam into place, which then you'll have a stuck fuel sending unit. Put this off, spring it. There we go. Okay, so this guy moves. We're gonna open up a new one. Put the gasket underneath. New fuel pump. They also call it a fuel pump module. Make sure it's all nice tucked in there. Being that this is not an O-ring style, you don't need to bother lubricating it. Drop the float and the filter in first, and just drop her on in, and then make sure your connector is indexed outward, or what would have been better is when you pull yours off, make sure it's marked exactly where it came. If you're a little off, totally okay. And then now, make sure this is threaded on there properly. It's very easy to cross thread these. So just make sure you start it by hand, run it on down, and tighten it up. So now we got it all in there. I look back at my old video. You want the connector, the pigtail, to be about yay over here. And this is where our hose over here goes. So it needs to rotate a little bit more. If you have to rotate it, just loosen this collar up and then give it a little rotate, and you'll make sure that your fuel line connects. Give it a rotate, flip that cut, pull it back up, make sure it don't come back up. So now we're nice and comfortable here. Now we know that's where it needs to be. And then go ahead and tighten it back up. Do be careful, because this guy will want to twist potentially. So what I did is I put a little bit of lube between the lock cap and the pump itself. And keep in mind, the fuel pump is gonna want to slide a little left and right, but that's okay, because that's not where it's really sealing. And then you want to just get this guy super snug, about that tight. And if you squeaks over, because you're really not going to strip it unless you're really trying, but you can strip them and you can untorque them. So just about like that. There we go. All right, so next we're gonna put this funky rubber boot on. The way you got to take this off and on, guys, is you got to take your fuel line, run it through the cap. Don't forget your sub harness for your fuel pump. That's going to go through that hole. And since I only got 2 hands, I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so now we got the fuel tank slid back in there. We got that bolt tight and the bolt down inside there. Then we got the air box back down and on. This strap, kind of lame. That's what actually keeps the ECM into place. And then make sure that this hard tube goes through there to retain it. And this goes on there where that little notch is, screws that down. And then gonna wire it back up. So when you're removing this ignition coil, this ground wire does disconnect in the middle. So we're gonna plug that all back in there. All right, so now that we got this guy back on there, we're gonna finish clipping it in. The way you remove this is you will loosen this clamp and just push it back there. That's how I got this guy off. You can rotate this and they won't shut up or stop arguing. Anyways, you can rotate and take this guy off, but you don't need to. Just loosen that up, push that back out in there. All right, so now we got that in there, tight. Now before you put these trim covers on, guys, don't forget there's a body clip down inside there. You're gonna put that all in there, tuck that underneath. So when you're done, that's what it's gonna look like. And there's gonna be 2 or 3 10mm screws underneath here. All right, so now we got these screws in, the other body panel screws in. Don't forget to push that guy back into its retaining hole. We're gonna not put this guy in yet. Now putting on these side panels, they're a little bit of a bugger. Right here, you're going good, going good. There's some tabs in here. And then this, make sure that folds inside of that guy. All right, so now we got it all back together. We got the top, latch, seat. So now let's make sure we did it right. Oh yeah. Hold on.